Former NBA player Ron Harper was asked whether he expected both of his sons to make it to the league, and his answer caught everyone off guard. Instead of giving a typical proud or confident response, he said something that left both of them visibly surprised.
Not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. I just want them to play and enjoy the game and whatever.
Bronny James, he's 7 for 28 in 4 preseason games from the field. He's 2 for 13, I believe, from three-point range. He's got 8 assists and 8 turnovers. He's moving into year 2. This guy is not an NBA player.
When it comes to basketball, it's the greatest accomplishment that I've ever had. Done it all as an individual, but there's no greater accomplishment that would be to overtake me being on the same floor as my son. So I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do.
That moment came during the 2026 NBA All-Star Weekend, and honestly, it ended up being more entertaining than the game itself. And no, this isn't about Kawhi Leonard going completely off on the court. Yes, he was on fire, but the real highlight, Ron Harper casually delivering a perfectly timed verbal shot at LeBron James that has the entire basketball world talking. I'm not LeBron James. I'm not going to tell my kids what they have to do. Just like that. Now, picture the scene. It's All-Star Weekend in San Francisco. The Harper family, Ron Sr., Ron Harper Jr., and the talented 19-year-old rookie Dylan Harper had just taken part in the Shooting Stars competition. They're at the podium for media availability, everything relaxed and light. Reporters are tossing easy questions, the vibe is casual. The sons are even joking with their dad about missing simple layups, just normal family banter. Then comes a straightforward question. When Dylan and Ron Jr. were born, did you ever imagine they'd make it to the NBA? Was this always the dream? That's when Ron Harper dropped that unforgettable line. The timing, the delivery, the precision. It was a perfectly executed moment that landed harder than anyone expected. Ron Harper didn't just answer the question, he quietly dismantled LeBron James in front of the entire basketball world without ever raising his voice. No hesitation, no filter, just a direct, confident response from someone who's won 5 NBA championships. And the best part? Look at Dylan Harper's reaction. The 19-year-old rookie can barely hold it together. His expression says it all. That's the look of a son who just watched his dad deliver a perfectly timed shot at the biggest name in the sport without flinching. Because what Ron Harper really implied, without spelling it out, was that LeBron didn't exactly leave Bronny James to figure things out on his own. Instead, he turned his son's journey into part of his own legacy story, placing it under the spotlight of a narrative built around himself. Meanwhile, Ron Harper took a different approach, letting his sons grow into their own paths. The contrast between the two approaches couldn't feel more stark. Now, take a look at the Harper brothers. Ron Harper Jr. has had a solid but up-and-down path, moving across teams and currently with the Boston Celtics. Not every player becomes a superstar, and that's completely fine. But Dylan Harper, that's where things get interesting. The second overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, right behind Cooper Flagg, he's already showing real promise at just 19 years old, averaging 11 points per game for the San Antonio Spurs. And this Spurs squad is no joke right now. They're sitting near the top of the standings, right behind the Oklahoma City Thunder, and have already beaten them multiple times this season. With Victor Wembanyama dominating, Chris Paul running the offense, and Dylan developing into a serious weapon, this team looks built for a deep playoff push.
And Dylan earned his place. No shortcuts, no outside pressure shaping his path. Now, compare that to the LeBron and Bronny situation. LeBron spent years openly saying he would play alongside his son in the NBA, turning it into a personal goal, a legacy moment, something he was determined to make happen. And when that moment arrived, he put pressure on the Los Angeles Lakers, a franchise with 17 championships and a legacy shaped by legends like Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal, to select Bronny James with the 55th overall pick in 2024. He even said it himself, despite everything he's achieved individually, nothing would top sharing the court with his son. But the reality is, Bronny was viewed as roughly a top 100 level prospect in college, someone who likely needed more time to develop before making the jump to the NBA. Still, he was determined to create that moment, his defining legacy play, and the Lakers went along with it. Now it's unfolding in a way that's hard to ignore. Through 56 games across 2 seasons, Bronny is averaging just 2.2 points per game on 35% shooting from the field. And while the criticism is loud, it's not about his character or effort, it's about timing. He's been placed in a position he may not have been ready for, all under the weight of expectations tied to his father's vision. Meanwhile, LeBron James continues to call this his greatest achievement, above 4 championships, 4 MVPs, becoming the all-time leading scorer, and winning 2 Olympic gold medals. For him, sharing the court with Bronny stands at the very top. Watching his son struggle with just 2.2 points per game on inefficient shooting while the entire basketball world reacts says a lot. And sure, there are flashes, like moments where Bronny James comes up with a big defensive play or a steal, but those highlights don't change the bigger picture. Because this was never really about Bronny's individual success. From the beginning, it's felt more like part of LeBron James's larger narrative, his story, his legacy, making sure his name is tied to yet another historic moment. He's even said it himself, calling that achievement one that cements his greatness. But to a lot of people watching, it raises a different question. At what cost? Ron Harper seemed to recognize that immediately, and when the moment came, he didn't hesitate. What made his comment hit so hard was how simple it was. No long explanation, no emotional speech, just a clear line drawn. He wasn't going to shape his son's paths for them. He let them grow into who they wanted to be. And the results are speaking loudly. Dylan Harper is thriving in San Antonio, developing within one of the most respected organizations in the league, surrounded by elite talent and earning everything step by step. No one is questioning whether he belongs, no debates about favoritism or legacy influence. He's there because of his ability. His skill set keeps expanding, his confidence is growing, and it's clear he's carving out his own place in the NBA on his own terms. Meanwhile, Bronny James has become a constant topic of debate, scrutiny, and even second-hand discomfort for many fans. Is that fair to him? Not really, but that's often what happens when a career gets wrapped up in something bigger than the player himself. And here's what likely stings the most for LeBron James. Ron Harper wasn't even trying to take a shot. He was simply answering a question honestly. But when that honesty stands in such sharp contrast to LeBron's approach, it ends up hitting harder than any direct criticism. LeBron has built a career on shaping narratives, from the decision to forming super teams in Miami to returning to Cleveland with title expectations, to the way he communicates publicly. Everything has felt intentional, carefully managed, and tied to his overall brand.
On the other hand, Ron Harper's path looks very different. A 5-time NBA champion, a key piece of the Chicago Bulls' second three-peat, and an important contributor during the early 2000s Lakers runs alongside Shaq and Kobe, he built his legacy without chasing the spotlight. He focused on his role, won consistently, and raised his family with a more hands-off approach. That contrast is exactly why his comment landed so strongly. It wasn't loud, but it carried weight. And speaking of control, during All-Star Weekend, LeBron, someone who usually embraces the spotlight, seemed noticeably irritated when asked about his future. For a player who's often open about his journey and accomplishments, that brief moment of reluctance stood out more than expected. Oh, LeBron James just wants to live, poor guy. Can't even survive a single question about next season without it being treated like an invasion of privacy. The same player who once turned an entire ESPN special into a live announcement for his free agency decision, who famously turned Taco Tuesday into a trademark moment, and who regularly posts highly produced workout clips with cinematic music and motivational captions every offseason. But somehow, a straightforward question about his future becomes too much. That contradiction is exactly what people point to. From that perspective, Ron Harper's comment hit differently because it didn't come as an attack. It came as a simple reflection of a different mindset. It highlighted 2 very different approaches to legacy and parenting. On one side, a highly managed, narrative-driven career where everything feels intentional and public-facing. On the other, a quieter approach where children are allowed to develop without their paths being predetermined. That's where the comparison between Dylan Harper and Bronny James keeps coming up. One is viewed as building his identity step by step within a team system, while the other is constantly tied to a larger storyline that existed long before he entered the league. And that's where the debate really lives, not just about talent, but about timing, expectations, and how much control a parent should exert over a child's professional path. Ron Harper built a career marked by 5 championships, a long and steady NBA run, multiple 20-point-per-game seasons, and time playing alongside legends like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. With that kind of resume, he had nothing left to prove. So when his sons showed real basketball potential, he didn't try to control their paths. He supported them and let their development happen naturally. Today, Dylan Harper is viewed as a legitimate NBA-level talent on a rising team, while Ron Harper Jr. continues to carve out his own steady journey in the league. That's why the 2026 NBA All-Star Weekend is being remembered for more than just on-court action. For many fans, the standout moment wasn't a highlight play. It was Ron Harper's calm, direct response during a media session, which sparked broader conversations about legacy, parenting, and how young players are guided into the league. In contrast, discussions around LeBron James and Bronny James continued to revolve around expectations, narrative pressure, and how much influence a superstar parent should have over a son's career path.